This is a map of every demon in the Bible. Most Christian music, sermons, and books are quick to mock the demonic, as if we, as Christians, are immune to their attacks simply by being Christian. But after diving deep into the Bible, I found that the demonic forces are no joke at all. In fact, they might be the most orderly and effective army ever assembled in all of history. And I don't use that term army loosely. Every demon on this map fulfills a specific role, as if serving in a satanic military. There's demons who act as infantry, demons who create propaganda, and even double agent demons. Some can possess individuals, others can possess entire nations. Some operate behind the mask of a false god, but they all take orders from the one at the top. That, of course, is Satan. Now, you might think you know all there is to know about Satan, but in this video, you will learn some tactics that very few Christians ever discover, or by the time they do, it's too late. To some, this may be a scary video topic, but the reason I've made this video is because you and I are in a war. Yes, it's wartime, and our enemy is not the flesh and blood humans we seem to fight with every day, but demonic forces in the spiritual realm. Today, all their schemes will be revealed. We'll discuss how to identify them, how to resist them, and the true master plan behind the devil's war campaigns against us in the first place. But before we discuss the army's commander, we need to understand his soldiers. The first tier of demons we need to understand we're going to call the unclean spirits. They're called by many names in scripture, but for simplicity's sake, they're unclean spirits. Think of these as the demonic underlings of the higher-ups, and from what I can tell, they primarily carry out 3 different jobs on Earth. All 3 of these are explicitly mentioned in scripture many times, so we get a good grasp of what each one's purpose is. The first are called evil spirits, the second are called lying spirits, and the third are called familiar spirits. The first type kinda has 2 names, I guess, both of which are significant. These guys are the most common demonic spirits seen all over the New Testament in particular. The evil or unclean spirit's job is to possess and torment individuals. The word unclean may draw a connection to the purity laws of the Old Testament, signifying impurity and rebellion. This is illustrated in the Legion story, where a group of demons led a man to a graveyard, a place of uncleanliness according to Jewish law. They also request to be sent into a herd of pigs when Jesus casts them out, and into pigs they go, driving them into the water where they drowned. Pigs, of course, were considered to be unclean animals according to the Jews, and dead corpses were in a similarly unclean category. The phrase evil spirit indicates some wicked intent to harm the vessel they possess. It's common for a demon-possessed individual to experience physical or psychological pain from the experience. We see this in Mark 9, where an unclean spirit is making this little boy mute. He experiences seizures where he foams from the mouth, and the spirit often tries to throw him into fire or deep water to have him killed. But what's interesting is when a demon is cast out, they seem to suffer a similar pain themselves. We often see the demons cry out in fear as they're cast out of their victims. There's also this idea that the unclean spirits have some kind of physical power. In Luke's account of the Legion story, the possessed man is described as breaking chains and shackles, freeing him from any captivity people tried to put him in, and driving him into the desert. In the same story, the unclean spirits request that Jesus not send them to the abyss. This is a super rare mention of a spiritual prison for the demonic. We discussed it at length in this video, so please check this one out once you're finished here. Another thing we learn from this story is that the demons only act with express permission from Jesus himself. This is a theme we'll see throughout this video, and it's an insight I was so fascinated by it when I was studying it. So we know that unclean spirits' primary role is to possess and torment God's sons and daughters. They make life painful for them, and seem to have powers to remove their victims' senses. They also seem to have this ability to grant super strength for chaotic or rebellious purposes, and we know that they can only act within God's express permission, and if they go beyond God's words, they can be locked up in the abyss. A spiritual prison for the worst of demon kind. But there's another insight into the nature of unclean spirits that I haven't mentioned yet. A glimpse into the spiritual world from Jesus that comes at an unexpected moment. Jesus says, when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes throughout arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and takes 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. I had to look into what this means, and some commentators speculate that when a demon is cast out from a person, yet they remain in sin and don't turn to Christ, that demon can just as easily return with 7 demons much stronger than he, and make the victim's life a living hell. I know there's a bit of interpretation going on there, but it's a harrowing thought if true. But what am I doing? These are only the first types of demonic spirits in this category. And this is only the first category of a huge army of demons we have to cover today. And the demons only get crazier the further we go into this video.